Ready for the rest of our day today. I'm going to mute us all, but feel free to unmute at any time. Use that chat box on the bottom if you want to message me directly. So we'll come on to our backs, pillows, blankets, yoga blocks, any other props. Just have those things nearby and handy and ready, regardless if we use them or not. And when we come down onto our back today, I'm actually going to have us do a little bit of movement before we just pause and check in with our body and breath. So let's work our way down onto our back safely. Once you get here, loosen up the clothing, move the ponytails out of the way if you have them. Walk those feet in, draw the belly in, and let's just hug our knees gently towards our body and do a rock side to side here. Massaging into those muscles across the back. Hands behind the thighs. Let's stretch those legs up towards the ceiling as much as we can. Don't force it. They might not get as straight as they normally do towards the end of class, but it's a nice way to improve our circulation first thing in the morning. Point and flex those feet. Give those hamstrings maybe a little bit of massage up and down the backs of those thighs, all the way from the sit bones behind the knees. And then one more time, draw those knees to the body. We can grip our hands across the shin bones for a little bit more of a stretch for the root of the neck and the back. Float the head up as if we're trying to draw our nose towards our knees. Take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale now, we'll press that pause button and let our body flop towards the floor. You're more than welcome to bring props underneath the legs to help the low back. Keep the knees bent, feet a little wider, knees dropped together to help the low back. If you want to stretch those legs out into a Shavasana position, let the feet be a little bit wider than the hips. Let the feet flop open. Adjust the shoulder blades. Rolling those arm bones away from the body, palms up. Give the head a rock side to side here, loosening the neck up. Find the very back center of the skull. Close the eyes. Poof those cheeks up with air. Loosen up the mouth. Soften around the back and lower jaw. Any other little adjustments we need to make through the body? And then let's pause, take a deep breath in through the nose. And on our next exhale, let's just feel a whole sense of relaxation move through the body. Entirely relaxing the body. Top of the head, down to those fingertips and toes. Undoing any tightness and tension as much as we can here. Checking in with the physical body, mentally scanning our body. And continuing to dissolve any tightness in the muscles that we might find. We can also check in with any areas that we might be taking care of this morning. Breathing into those areas and allowing them to relax as well. Remembering that we let go of the forcing, the pushing, and the straining in our practice. But instead, we accept our practice with a quality of santosha or contentment. Let's spread our awareness and spend a few moments here to the breath. Begin to observe and watch the body breathe this morning. Notice the movement of the body with the breath. Maybe the difference in temperature between the inhales and exhales of the breath. And then let's tap in to that expansion as we inhale through the nose, filling ourselves up with that fresh prana and energy and air this morning. And that natural contraction as we exhale back out through the nose, letting go of stale old air and energy. We'll bring our focus into the abdominal region. On our next inhale, we'll relax the belly completely, purposefully allowing it to expand like a balloon. On the exhale, we let the belly drop back down towards the ground, adding a gentle contraction of those muscles, pulling the navel in towards the spine. Inhale, relax the abdomen. Allow it to expand like a balloon and rising upwards. Exhale, the belly drops back down. We gently contract the abdominal muscles, pulling that navel towards the spine. And what we're ultimately trying to do, it gives space to the diaphragm. This is diaphragmatic breathing, our yogi pranayama. On the inhale, diaphragm drops, pulling that breath deep into the lungs. And on the exhale, as we pull the belly in, it pushes the diaphragm up, helping to push that old air out of the lungs. Smooth, even breaths. Over time, we will improve the quality of our breath, our lung capacity, and be able to elongate this breath, stretching it out, maybe another 1 or 2 counts on both the inhale and exhale. If we're not sure the breath is even, simply mentally count the breath. Counting the number that you're breathing in to expand. And equalizing that exhale back out to the same number. One more round, big belly breathing. And at the bottom of the next exhale, when we get there, exhale completely, every drop out. Let go of trying to follow and control the breath for a moment. Feel the weight of the body again, the connection with the body and the ground below. And then let's start to wake the body up. Wake up those toes, wiggle the fingertips. Again, a rock of the head side to side to loosen the neck. Next inhale, float those arms up to the ceiling and all the way overhead into a nice long body stretch. But today, let's open the arms wider than the shoulders and try to stretch and open up those legs as wide as the yoga mat. So from the ceiling looking down, we look like a capital letter X. So we're reaching our limbs out in 4 directions. Let's spread those fingers and spread the toes. Actively flex the feet, pull the toes towards the shin bones. You might even feel your heels pop up off the ground. Take one more big breath in, stretching out in those 4 directions through the hands and the feet. On the exhale, sweep those arms back up to the ceiling and down beside the body. Step the feet in 1 foot at a time. Draw the belly in, hug the knees in, rock it out for that back. So now we're going to start some fluid movements to warm the abdominal muscles around the hips, the neck, and shoulders, and just to loosen up the whole body. Drop the feet back down towards the ground. This time, keep the insides of the feet and legs touching and slide them down the middle of the mat. Arms down beside the body, palms down, adjust the shoulder blades. Water pump pose with our breathing. Inhale, re-extend the arms up to the ceiling, all the way overhead. Simultaneously flex those feet, toes to shin bones. On the exhale, point your toes forward, arms float back up, but I want you to feel like you're pressing through thick mud, so use your muscles as you pump the arms back down to the ground. Inhale, re-extend, flex the feet. Fingers and toes can be spread. You'll notice that the back gently arches away from the ground. Exhale, point the toes, pump the arms down with some strength. Now this time, pull the belly in, navel towards the spine. The inhale takes us into our long stretch arms overhead. Next exhale, we'll float the head up if we want a little bit more. So continue to point those toes, pump the arms, pull the belly in. As the head lifts, we look to the toes, a gentle abdominal crunch here. And then on the inhale, we'll relax the head back down, re-extend those arms and flex the feet. 2 more with your breath. Try to move as smoothly and with as much precision as we can. We will meet on our next inhale with the arms stretched overhead and the feet flexed. Now we'll go right into flowing Pavana Muktasana, a little bit more core and hip work. Exhale, pull the belly in, use your core. Continue to pump the arms down, head floats, but this time bend your right knee up into the body. On the inhale, re-extend the leg and the arms overhead. Exhale, pull that belly in, pull the left knee up this time. Arms continue to pump, the head may continue to lift. Inhale, re-extend. Do 1 more to each side. Really use that exhale to compress, drawing the nose towards the knee. Good. After we do 1 more to our left, we'll inhale and re-extend. Exhale, the arms will float down beside the body. Step the feet in towards the sit bones. Feet are parallel to each other. Yoga blocks nearby. Take that yoga block on its low setting and place it right between the inner thighs. Going right into flowing Setu Bandasana bridge pose. Make sure your shoulders are tucked under. You may be able to reach down and tickle the backs of those heels or reach towards the ankles. Give that prop a little bit of a squeeze. If you don't have one, just make sure your knees stay in line with your hips and your toes. Now squeeze and strengthen the backside so the core wraps all the way around the torso, the waist, and into those back muscles. Press into the feet and the backs of the arms, and on the inhale, we'll lift our hips up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, we'll lower back down to the ground. We want to try to move with our Samavritti Pranayama. So if we're inhaling and lifting to a count of 3, try to exhale and lower back down to a count of 3. You should feel your hamstrings and glutes waking up into the low back. And a nice stretch through the quads, the hip flexors, the abs. If you lift up a little bit higher, the heart will also lift. The chest will move towards the chin into a gentle inversion. If we want to add the arm movement to help loosen up the shoulders and the upper back, next inhale, re-extend the arms up to the ceiling and all the way overhead. And then on the exhale, hips come down and arms come back down. 2 more of whatever variation we're choosing this morning for our body. Good. We'll meet on our next exhale whenever we get there. We'll take the block out. We'll keep those knees bent, but we'll step the feet as wide as our yoga mat. Cactus, the arms from the shoulders bend at the elbows, drop them to the ground. Let the backs of the hands flop towards the ground. If they don't easily touch, that's normal. Just tightness across the front of the chest and shoulders possibly. Let gravity do its thing and help traction out that area. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, the knees will fall to the right hand side. We'll let the left side arch away from the ground. We'll get a stretch across the front of the thigh, hip flexor, waist. Sink the left shoulder down, the head can turn to the left to counter twist the neck. Our inhales will pull the head and knees up through center. And on the exhale, knees will fall to the left. The head will turn to the right. The right side will get that gentle back bend and stretch. Follow the breath. You can encourage the knees a little bit closer towards the ground to deepen this. Maybe try to turn the head a little further in the opposite direction to deepen the counter twist for the neck. Let's take it one more time to each side. After you finish that windshield wiper movement to the left, we'll bring the knees back to neutral, pulling the belly in, hugging the knees in, hands to shins, another rock here. Right arm beside the head, we'll roll onto our right side. We'll pause just for a moment, head on the arm to transition. Top hand to the floor, heart can turn towards the floor, excuse me. And then using our hands to lift ourselves up. So take your time to come on up here. And then we're gonna rearrange ourselves on our mat so we can grab our cushions, our support, our folded blankets, coming into a seated position. Remembering that we want our pelvic bowl to be in a neutral position. In our spine as well, continuing to keep the natural curves of the spine. If we're taking Sukhasana, easy cross, whichever way you naturally came into your seat this morning, try to immediately switch up which foot is front, because we do tend to always sit the same way. Give your knees additional support if needed. We'll find those sit bones, we'll sit up tall. We will draw the low belly in slightly to help support our back. Floating the arms out beside the shoulders, palms up. Inhale, breathing to reach up. Give the chin just a little bit of a float here. Keep the back of the neck long, roll the eyes upwards. Turn the palms back out. Exhale, fingertips to the ground. Without rounding the back, draw the chin down towards the chest to stretch out the back of the neck. Inhale, arms up. Chin floats up, drishti rolls upwards. And on the exhale, fingertips come back down. We keep the spine long, but we drop the chin down. Look towards the belly button. One more, just a nice centering breath here. Keep the fingertips down on this next exhale. Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. The arms can even kind of turn into wet noodles. On the inhale, let's roll our right ear to right shoulder, look forward. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Exhale, bring it down. Let's do that one more time to each side here. Just a little stretch for the side of the neck, tops of the shoulders, arms can be heavy. We'll meet with the chin back down towards the chest. On the inhale, turn the palms back up, reach the arms out, bring the head back to neutral all the way up. Right into our spinal twist, so we maintain this length. On the exhale, we're rotating to our right. Now we will use some muscles along our right-hand side to contract and pull us deeper into the twist. You may try to reach that opposite knee, but don't round the back to do so. Sit up tall. Let's breathe and continue this twist today all the way up to the crown of the head. Open those eyes nice and wide and peek behind the body. Use the next inhale to come out of the twist. Unwinding, reaching back up to center. Exhale, contract the left side to assist the body, twisting to the left. Shoulders, chin stay parallel, eyes open wide. You can sip in as much little air as you need in and out through the nose. But whenever you get to your next inhale, reach back up. Come back to center. Now let's try to move with one breath at a time. So on this next exhale, we'll revisit our twist to the right, all the way. Inhale back up. And one big exhale to twist one more time to the left. Inhale, reach back up. Bring those palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart. So since we're here, we might as well do our other spinal movement. Go ahead and now switch up the cross the legs. Opposite foot in front. Find those hip bones. Bring those fingertips back out to the sides of the body. Draw in through the low belly, our lateral extension. So we'll inhale our right arm up right beside the ear. And the exhale, we'll slide down that wall. So a little bit of compression here for the left side, but a big stretch for the right side. The inhale pulls us up. Switch those arms. Exhale. Big stretch over, stretch out the whole left side. Remember to keep that sit bone rooted. One more time to each side. The neck is an extension of the spine, but you may take your drishti down, forward, or upwards. After we do our last stretch over to the right, our next inhale will meet back to center, both arms up. Good, palms touch, exhale to heart. So let's make our big transition to tabletop, however you want to get there this morning. Crawling forward, undoing the legs, rearranging. Third spinal movement we'll go right into it is our extension and flexion. So these three movements will help wake up our spine this morning. Spread those fingers, stack those joints, press into the earth. Drop those knees right underneath the hips, toes tucked or pointed. Float the head with the back, start in a neutral position. Then take another nice deep breath in through the nose, relax the belly. Lift the tailbone up and try to stretch your spine as long as we can, forward and upwards through the crown of the head. Exhale, draw that belly in, scoop the tailbone under, poof the back up to the ceiling, draw chin to chest, drishti to the belly button. Find your rhythm. Trying to get as loosey-goosey as we can up and down the spine and the back. More tension in the neck and shoulders today. Maybe focus a little bit more on that area. Low backs, try to get into those pelvic tilts to help loosen up around the hips. Feel free to add those side-to-side movements or movements around the neck and head. Just do so mindfully. Good. We'll balance ourselves out. When we get back to a neutral position, one more big stretch for the back and those hips before we start a little bit more strengthening. Our wide-kneed child's pose. So we'll open those knees as wide as our mat, touch the toes together. Drawing the belly in to lead the hips back and down to the heels. Some of us may be able to continue to reach our fingertips to the front of the mat. As we bow the head down to the ground, we relax the abdomen and the heart. So we keep some length and extension through the side bodies, but we can let go of the belly here. Now, when I first did my child's pose this morning, I was almost at a 45-degree angle. So I was literally about a foot from the floor with my head, and it wasn't going to go any further. So what we've already done has allowed me to bring my head to the ground, and that just makes me so happy. The miracle of yoga. So I hope you are already feeling a little looser in your body. So just appreciate that little bit of movement that's already given to us. Breathe into that low back and around that hip area. Do support the head however you can if it's not touching the ground. And remember, this is a great place to come back to at any time to reconnect to the body and breath. On the inhale, we'll float our head and body back up. Take your time to get there. Draw those knees back underneath the hips. Come back to tabletop position. So now we're going to go into a little bit more core strengthening and stability. It's going to be really important that we continue to pull into those lower abdominal muscles. Equal weight in both hands. Hips are nice and level. Let's give our legs just a quick stretch from our child's pose. So stretch that right foot back. Press the heel towards the ground. Open the eye of the knee. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, right knee comes down. Hips remain level. Inhale, left leg back. Shift the weight back as much as you want. Feel that stretch, especially up the back of the leg behind the knee. Be mindful of where the head is in space. Breathe it in. Exhale, left knee comes down. Pull that belly in. Re-extend the right leg. But this time, we're going to squeeze our right backside to hover our right leg parallel to the floor. Point those toes straight down to the ground. Extend the left arm forward, palm in, thumb up. So this is our balanced spinal integration. Hovering the right leg, the left arm from the floor. Body's trying to figure out how to hold our limbs out at this angle. It's going to be the core that's doing the work to help stabilize the body. We're holding here. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, let's bring the left hand and right knee back down. Again, there should not be a big shift in your hips. If you come back down and you notice a big drop down in one hip, just work a little bit more on pulling the belly in. Left leg stretches back. Squeeze that left side to hover left leg parallel to the floor. Left foot actively flexing, toes pointing down. Right arm reaches straight forward from the shoulder, palm in, thumb up. You might have a little bit more stability on one side than the other. That's totally normal. Notice the breath in the body. And take one more breath in the pose. Exhale, right hand, left knee comes down. Re-extend the right leg, back from the hip. This time, keep the ball of the foot to the floor to start. Take the top of the left foot and slide it out a few degrees. That's our kickstand. We're moving into a modified side plank or a modified half moon pose. The left hand and arm are going to do the work. Make sure you're pressing through the knuckles so the wrists don't take all of the pressure. Roll to the instep of the right foot and inhale, floating the right arm straight up to the ceiling, stacking the shoulders and the hips. So our body is now opening up to the side. Again, be mindful of the head. Your drishti may be down towards the mat, straight forward or upwards. We can keep our right foot grounded. A little bit more strengthening. Now we'll activate our right side, the abductors, and hover our right foot parallel to the floor. So this is more of the half moon position. If we keep the foot down, modified side plank position. And we'll hold. Try to take one more breath. Strong foot. Remember, we're pressing into the invisible ledge and the inside of the right foot. If it's lifted, take a big breath in. Nice. On this exhale, look down, bring the foot down. We just want to try to unwind out of the pose, same way we went into it. No hurry. Stack the hands. We got to restack our knees. When we get back to neutral, fingertips, Hasta Bandha, or fist for wrist, if our wrists want to break. We'll take a couple cat-cows before we do our other side, just to make sure everything is back where it should be. Neutral position. Pull that low belly in. Stretch the left leg straight back from the hip. Keep the ball of the foot to the ground. Take the top of the right foot and ankle it out just slightly. That will help with our balance. Press through the right arm into the knuckles of the right hand, rolling to the instep of the left foot. Stacking shoulders and hips. Inhale, left arm straight up to the ceiling. So we are pulling up underneath that right side to help the body stay upright. Adjust the drishti, the position of the head. Make sure the neck stays long. Keep the left foot grounded or activate through the left side of the body to hover the left leg parallel to the floor. Toes should be pointing straight forward. We're pressing into an invisible ledge with the inside of that left ankle. Nice options. Make sure you're pressing into the earth through those right knuckles, pulling up through that right side. One more breath. And then take one more nice deep breath in. Really press out through that heel. Reach the fingertips up. Exhale, we'll unwind. Look down, foot down, hand, knees. There's no rush. Once we find ourselves back in our tabletop position, fingertips, fists for wrists, take a couple cat-cows. And then from tabletop, hands walk forward about 1 hand's distance. Toes tuck under, draw low belly in, press into the ground to hover those hips up, shifting our weight back and down the legs, through the heels towards the ground, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So adjust your stance as needed, parallel the hands, parallel the feet. Roll those upper arm bones away from those ears, draw that belly in, pressing belly to thighs, thighs towards the wall. Give those knees a deeper bend if we need more release for the back. Or walk your dog this morning, dropping one heel at a time, bending the opposite knee to give the backs of those legs a nice big stretch. Then let's pause in stillness for a breath in the pose. Inhale, looks forward. We'll walk our feet to our hands to our feet. Utkatasan, forward fold. Continue to stay in a deeper inversion. The abdomen should be supporting the back by drawing it in. Take a hold of opposite elbows if you'd like to ragdoll the upper body and sway from side to side in the neck and shoulders. Modify by bending the knees and placing the weight of the elbows or hands on the thighs, and maybe release one arm at a time from there to still get the benefit. We are going to work a little bit on our halfway lifts. So we haven't done any back bending yet, so I want us to move very mindfully here. Use the support of the legs, have a micro bend in the knees. So the next inhale, we'll place our hands on our shins or even up on your thighs like I'm demonstrating. Squeezing the muscles of the upper back. I'm even picking up my toes. So I'm shifting my weight back a little bit so I'm not having too much extension through the spine. Pull the shoulder blades together, look forward. Exhale, your forward fold. The further you fold forward, the more work your back has to do to come back up. Inhale, halfway lift. Use as much support of the legs as you need. Squeeze the muscles of the back. Those of you that are ready and able to locust your arms, you may add that arm variation, bringing your arms parallel to the torso, palms face inward. Exhale, fold. We'll do one more. Inhale, halfway lift. Make sure you're squeezing the muscles of the back regardless of the position of the hands or the arms. This next exhale, we're going to take it right into Utkatasan. So you'll sit your hips back into an invisible chair, pull the belly in. If your arms are floating beside you, just reach them up. If we have our hands on our thighs, we'll do the same. We'll start to reach our arms forward and up. If we need to adjust the stance in the feet, do so at this time. Toes pointing forward, make sure your knees are pointing towards your toes. Fierce pose, shrug the shoulders from the ears. If you're taking care of tension in the neck and shoulders, let go of the arms and just bring hands to heart today and focus more on core and strengthening the legs. Focus that drishti on one spot and we'll get into a little bit of our balance. So knees are bent, try to hover the right foot from the floor.
There'll be a little bit of leaning, but think more of contraction of the muscles. Exhale it down. Inhale, pull the left foot up from the floor. Exhale it down. We can try to sink a little further down. Next inhale, press the feet into the ground, straighten the legs, reaching the arms up to the ceiling into extended mountain. Big stretch. Turn the palms out. Exhale. Float those arms down right into Tadasana. Shrug the shoulders from the ears. Again, nice foundation in the feet. Pick up those toes, rooting into the four corners of the feet. Mount a big toe, inner heel. Mount a pinky toe, outer heel. If you're a knee jammer like me, we want to make sure we're unlocking the knees, pulling up the front of the thighs, and pulling front body to back body, lengthening that low back to the ground. No tension in the face or the neck. Palm tree pose. We do this every class. Turn the palms out. Inhale, reach out nice and wide, all the way up to the ceiling. Add those heels, picking the heels up, rising up on our tippy toes. Palms touch. Exhale, we slowly try to lower down. And I know some of us are a lot more steady and balanced in the pose these days. So if we do want to challenge our brain a little bit more, we shift the drishti. Excuse me, I'm tongue-tied today. So you can try to look up when you lift up, and maybe shift your gaze to the horizon or down towards the ground when you come down. You could do this completely in blind balancing with the eyes closed. If you feel like being a little bit of a daredevil today, I guarantee you it will change things. Just make sure you're in a safe space. You don't have any sharp objects around you. Let's all do one more. Big breath. And exhale, bring it back down. Awesome, so for our standing postures today, our standing pose will be Utthita extended triangle pose, maybe unsupported triangle pose so that we are working this area of our body a little bit more. But you're welcome to bring props into it. From there, we're gonna go right into Artichondrasa, and that is our half moon pose, where we're pretending like we're leaning against an invisible wall, opening the hips and the shoulders. So if you do have folding chairs or some type of stable piece of furniture you want to add, we'll take it to the right-hand side or the mat first. You're always welcome to use a wall. I know some of you are saying you were little balanced or challenged with your balance. So if that's the case, use as much support as you want. Yoga blocks, high setting to start. Some people like to add these in half moons, some don't because they can be a little weeble wobbly. You can always bring them to a lower setting or try the unsupported version. So I'm gonna give us a moment to reorganize ourselves. And then we'll end up back in the middle of our mat facing the long edge of our mat. Float the fingertips in front of the heart. And when we're ready, just take a nice big step out. And then we can continue to walk our feet nice and wide. So this is a pretty wide stance. We don't want to get to the point where we're collapsed inward or rolling outward in the feet. So pick up the toes, find the four corners again. Toes should be pointing straight forward as well, so the feet are parallel to each other. Drop the shoulders from the ears, press into that invisible ledge with the palms so that our triceps and lats are doing more of the work and not the neck and the upper shoulders. From here, inhale, let's float the right toes up. You're pivoting at the heel, opening the thigh bone, pointing the toes forward. Hips and shoulders are trying to stay open. Remember to unlock the knees, no knee jamming in our triangle pose. We may draw that right hip crease in. On the inhale, we're maintaining the length through both side bodies as we extend slightly forward. And on the exhale, a windmill of the arms. So an unsupported triangle, the hand will come to the inside of the leg. I'm a little bit higher up. If you're a little bit lower down, it might be more towards the inner calf. We may use the back of that hand as a little bit of leverage as we follow our breath and continue to open the heart. The back of the neck should be nice and extended. The drishti may be down, and if you are looking down, that is a nice time to make sure that your knee is pointing towards your toes, forward or upwards. And we're receiving a stretch through that inner thigh, back of the right leg. Those of you who have more mobility in your hips and your fingertips are coming towards the seat of a chair or a prop, that's fine. And supported, we are really tightening around that corset or that cummerbund that's wrapping around our waist. One more breath. On the inhale, let's pull ourselves up out of the pose for a moment. We are going to go into half moon on this side now. So we just gave this leg a big stretch. Now it's going to be strengthening a little bit. Take the left hand out of the equation, bring it to the hip. Now what I would do is hop my back foot in a little bit. I already know I'm too close to my chair, so I'm actually just going to walk myself towards the back of my mat so I have a little bit more space in front of me. We want to start with a bend in our right knee. That'll be better on our joints. We're going to reach those left fingertips forward, tighten up our waistline, press into that right foot. We can come up on the back toes, and then it's the sliding action on that invisible wall again. And the left foot is actively flexing, toes pointing forward, pressing into that invisible ledge. Unsupported, we're trying to hover in space. Even if the fingertips are on a prop, just a little wiggle wobbly, try not to take all the weight into that hand. And then we're straightening up that right leg, leaning against an invisible wall. Your left arm might reach up towards the ceiling. We might come out of our pose, and that's totally fine. If we're a little unstable, just tighten, squeeze those muscles, safely come back to it. We're going to try for one more breath. Inhaling into the pose. Now on this exhale, we do kind of just let our body fall backwards into something of a warrior two position. So we let the weight of the back foot drop down. Make sure we're landing in soft joints here so the joints aren't stiff and we can absorb that little bit of impact. Straighten up the right leg. Turn the toes forward. Exhale, drop the arms. Take a break. Gonna figure out where we are in space. Little loosening. And then carefully, we'll bring our feet back to center and rearrange our props. So if you're taking time to do so, this is all part of our practice. So do it mindfully with awareness. And then we'll meet back in our centered position, legs coming together, fingertips floating up to the heart. Inhale, big step back out, one foot at a time. Feel free to wiggle the feet even wider. Four corners are rooted, pick up the toes, stretch the fingertips out, press into that invisible ledge. Draw the belly in, hearts open. Inhale, left toes lift up, spiral at the hip, pointing the toes to the back of the mat, with the hips and shoulders trying to stay open. Exhale, we can draw that left hip crease in without rounding the spine and that lateral extension. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale, windmill the arms. Your choice today, you may take that bottom hand in unsupported variation, pressing the back of the hand to that inner thigh or calf, using that as some gentle leverage to continue the heart opening. The drishti might be down to that front foot. Check in, knee to toes. Forward. If you're taking the gaze upwards, keep the back of the neck long. Use of a prop is fine. Avoid shifting all your weight into that bottom hand. Let's try for one more full breath. Still getting a nice stretch up the back and inside of that leg. Now the inhale pulls us up, so we have to use the right hand side of the body. Engage those muscles. It brings us all the way up out of the pose. Turn those toes, exhale, hands down. So I'm gonna adjust my foot again. I'm too close to my props. I'm just gonna work myself back a little bit. Left toe should still be pointing towards that short end of the mat. You can also hop your back leg in. We'll bring our right hand to our hip. Don't even think about it just yet. Bend into your left knee. Extend the left fingertips forward. We're moving in this lateral plane. So as I bend and start pushing into that foot, I'm gonna come up on my tippy toes. Strong waistline. Pull it all the way around the belly. And then I'm gonna activate my right foot. And just by flexing that super strong leg helps it be a little lighter. And then I'm tipping myself into half moon pose. It's nice to have something there to work with, and then you can try the unsupported version if you want. Right toes eventually pointing straight forward, press into that invisible ledge. Feel that waistline tightening, pulling into the midline. Try to stack those shoulders. Be mindful of where the head is in space, a lot to think about in this pose. Top hand may reach up to the ceiling. If we fall out, we just work our way back into it. Try for one more breath. And then we'll inhale into our pose. On the exhale, as gently as we can, we'll let our back foot fall back down to the ground. Lend into soft joint, so a bend in that knee. Good. Good. Inhale, straighten up through the leg. Exhale, let the arms relax, turn the toes forward. Little loosey-goosey movements. And then we'll step the feet back together. All right, good job, you guys. That's a nice awakening pose. If we were low energy, half moons can increase our energy a little bit. All right, we're gonna work our way back down towards the ground. So take a moment, reorganize your space as needed. Let's meet back towards the top of our mat in Tadasana, mountain pose. Good, so once we're ready, we'll come back. We will parallel our feet about hips width apart. We'll stand nice and tall, pick up the toes, spread the toes. Let's turn our palms forward just for a moment, since we just did that big energizing pose, keeping that open heart energy through our chest. But belly draws in, we lengthen the upper buttock down, and we make sure that those knees are unlocked and the head is floating happily on top of our shoulders. Back to the breath. Inhale, reach out and up. Extended mountain. Drishti to thumbs for that gentle back bend. Exhale, bend into the knees slightly, hinge from the hips, sweep the arms back around and through to Utkatasan, your version of that this morning. We'll hang out here for a moment. Those of us that want to loosen up the head, neck, and shoulders again. Inhale, halfway lift, squeeze the muscles of the back. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, big step back, 1 foot at a time into planks. We've added our planks into our practice again. We'll try to hold for 30 seconds. Make sure the fingers are wide. We're pressing out through the knuckles and the hands, drawing in around the core, shoulders over wrists. You may drop down to your knees, but avoid sinking the low back to the ground. So you really have to pull into that low belly and scoop the tailbone. Where is the head in space? Be mindful of that as well. Press into the earth through the hands. Smile. Those of us that want a little additional challenge this morning, squeeze the back right side and see if you can float your right foot just an inch or two from the floor. Exhale it down. Inhale, squeeze the back left side, see if we can float in up just an inch or two. Exhale it down. Even more of a challenge, this one's I haven't done in a while. Stretch your right arm forward. Exhale it down. Would not recommend for people with neck and shoulder injuries. Left arm forward. Exhale it down. Take a big breath in. And lift those hips. Exhale. Relax back and Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Really, really get the sense of a resting pose and down dog after we do some plank work. And we are going to do one more plank today. We're going to try our side plank, Shavasana. Remember, the modification is going to come down to the knees. We'll do our right side first, so you can turn your right foot out, stretch the instep of the left leg back, and roll up so that you're balancing on your right arm, left arm up. People that would like to try the fuller version, lower the hips back down to plank and step the insides and legs of feet to touch. Then roll to the outside of the right foot. Some people will stack their feet. Some people will place the top foot in front of the bottom. Shoulders should be stacked, and we're pulling up strongly through our right side. Modified or full for 3, 2, 1. Release. Take your time. You should come back to tabletop or full plank. Other side, press into the left hand. You're either rolling to the outside of the left foot, stacking the feet and legs, adjusting, pulling up to your left side. Shoulders are stacked. If you're modified, left knee to the ground. Right leg stretches back. 3, 2, 1. And release. Tabletop or full plank. And then exhale. One more time, we'll meet back in our downward facing dog. Feel, notice the breath. Inhale, heels up, stretch out those toes and those feet. Exhale, drop to the knees. Knees and feet stay together. If we want to try the more traditional version of child's pose, we take all the weight off of our hands by sliding hands back to feet, palms up. And then we drape our arms and our head over the lower half of our body. Pausing here. Let the breath come back to a nice smooth rhythm in and out through the nose. And then bring the hands under the shoulders, tuck the chin, and inhale. Round it up, one vertebra at a time. Now, I will offer some of us to stay here in a Vajrasana, heroes or diamonds pose. I can't remember, but sitting back on the heels, keeping the spine long with the knees together. This pose isn't going to be for everybody, especially my knee people. So we may take a block or 2, try to keep the knees closer together and place our props between the feet and finding our sit bones here. Now this pose is often a lot easier for us, me, with tight hips and hamstrings and low backs to keep my spine erect. When I try to sit cross-legged, I have a lot of rounding, so I have to sit up a little bit higher because our heels act as a little bit of a prop already. So wherever we are, we need to have a neutral spine. If that doesn't work, cross your legs in front of you into whatever seated position you can. We are moving into our pranayama. We have been practicing Kapalabhati breathing. It's a pretty intense pranayama. It is a forceful, concentrated exhale only, not an inhale and exhale. That's Vastrika. It's a different breathing technique. But this breathing technique strongly stimulates the area of our abdomen, internal organs, our digestion, improves our metabolism, strengthens those muscles. It's a very cleansing breath, and it translates to shining skull breath. So it's another pranayama, as a lot of them are, to prepare our mind for meditation. If you're sitting here, just place your palms down on your thighs. If you're cross-legged, you may take chin mudra, index finger to thumb, palms up. If you have any hernias, ulcers, cramping, or any digestive issues, this might not be your pranayama for the day. Instead, you will practice your gentle abdominal breathing. On the inhale, relaxing the belly, allowing it to expand like a balloon. And on the exhale, gently drawing the navel towards the spine with a slight contraction of those muscles. That's your alternative. We will try to do 2 rounds of Kapalabhati this morning. I'm timing us, so we're going about 60 seconds each round. Depending on how fast you're exhaling, you'll either be doing more or less. So if you're doing about 1 exhale per second, you'll obviously be doing about 50 to 60 exhales. If you're going slower, less. You're welcome to move at your own rhythm. I'll try to demo this sideways for a moment so you can kind of see the action. Waistband's got to be loose. We're just going to let that belly relax. So every time I'm exhaling, I'm sharply contracting my abdominal muscles. I do not worry about trying to take an inhale. It will happen on its own when I just relax these muscles. Works like a vacuum to pull that breath in. So I'm not sucking air in and exhaling. I'm just exhaling, exhaling, exhaling. The variation I'm teaching is an exhale out through the nose. You'll probably hear a little poof of air moving through the nose. That'll also clean out the sinuses. So you may want to have a tissue. So it'll kind of look like this. So exhale, exhale, exhale. And I usually do a little bit faster pace once I kind of build up that rhythm. Oftentimes our muscles and belly gets really confused and you end up doing the opposite. So you just stop, reconfigure, and come back to it. All right, let's give it a go. Make sure your posture is nice and tall to the crown of the head. Close the eyes. You may place one hand on your belly if it helps you. Take a deep breath in through both nostrils. Exhale back out. And then begin. Exhale, 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 exhale. Contract, 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 contract. You might want to start at a slower pace so you get the contraction with the exhale, and then eventually speed that rhythm up. You will definitely feel these muscles starting to work, but if you get any sharp pain or cramping, you'll want to stop. Halfway there. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale completely. And then relax completely. Let the belly relax. Let the breath go wherever it wants. Sit up tall. And concentrate the mind around the navel center and the belly. Observing any sensations or feelings without trying to label them or judge them. Second round, adjust the posture and seat as needed. Sit up tall. Relax the face. We're just using the muscles of the belly and just trying to focus on the exhale. Take a deep breath in through both nostrils. Exhale back out. And then begin at the bottom of that exhale. Exhale, 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 exhale. Snap that belly in. Contract, contract, contract. And all you're doing is relaxing the muscles after each exhale. There shouldn't be a lot of jerking movement in the shoulders. You'll feel some vibration through the body, all in the belly. Halfway there. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Relax completely. Relax the belly. Face is relaxed. Let the breath go wherever it wants. Observe any sensations or feelings without labeling any of it, good or bad, right or wrong. When you feel like the breath has returned to a nice, smooth, even breath in and out through the nose, we'll flutter our eyelids open, bringing our awareness back to our surroundings. We need to give our legs a stretch. If you switch to a cross-legged stance, simply stretch your legs out in Bandasana a couple times. If you're seated back on your heels, walk your hands forward. You may take a single leg stretch here, one leg at a time. You may draw the belly in, press into the hands, and float back up into a downward facing dog to walk the dog one heel at a time, stretching out the legs from there. Once we get the blood flow back down through the legs and the backs of the knees open, we'll shift our weight around onto our hips. So sitting back is an option and rocking over to either hip, moving from your tabletop. If you're already seated, we'll catch up with you. It is time to work our way down onto our backs. Safest option is always to come to one side and use your hands to take you down. I am going to guide us through our rolling down and rolling ups. This is articulation of the back, strong abdominal work, not for everybody. So if you're choosing to forego the roll downs and ups, come onto your back, take a happy baby, do some bridge lifts, some spinal twisting, whatever you feel like would be best for you today. Those of us joining me, we will sit about halfway on the ground. You do not need a prop. We would just extend the fingertips forward. I like to use my yoga block here, kind of keeps my focus and awareness. So you may add the block. Soles of the feet are to the ground. The insides of the feet are touching, but my knees are wider than my hips, so the hip flexors aren't doing all the work. I'm going to strongly draw the belly in. So there's two dynamic forces here. I'm reaching forward, but pulling in. Inhaling, and on my exhale, I'm going to lean back a little bit into the sacrum. And then on my inhale, I'm going to reach that prop back forward to come up. Gets harder. On the exhale, now I'm going to roll through the sacrum and try to get into the lumbar. And then inhale, pull myself up using those strong muscles. Nice. A little further. Pull the belly in, roll through the sacrum, the lumbar, mid-back, just to the tips of the shoulder blades. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale, pull the belly in, roll it down. Sacrum, low, mid, shoulders, and the back of the head. And then all the way back up. You really got to pull yourself up from the floor. Good work. Last time we're going to roll it down. Those of us still going. Pull the belly in. Go as slow as you can. Trying to hit every part of the back, shoulders, and head. When we get to the head, just place your prop down. Stretch the legs out down the middle of the mat. Adjust the clothing and the hair. Reach the arms overhead. We'll feel our low back arch away from the ground. We'll stretch out those abdominal muscles. Big breath in, spread fingers and toes. Exhale, float the arms down. Adjust the shoulders. Walk those feet in. Draw the belly in to hug the knees in. So we'll finish with a spinal twist today. Twists are wonderful to, again, massage our internal organs, our digestive system. They can also help release tightness in the belly and the back. Arms reach out from the shoulders, palms down. Exhaling, letting the knees fall to the right. Add additional props under the thigh as needed. Place the right hand on the top thigh to deepen the twist. Sink the left shoulder back into the ground. Turn the head to the left. Close the eyes here. Slow the breathing down as we come to the end of our practice. Surrender the weight of the body to gravity. Relax the face, the throat, the shoulders. One more breath. Let it go.
The next inhale, we'll float the head and the knees up to center. Drop the feet, readjust as needed. Pull the knees in, exhale, knees to the left. Place that left hand on top thigh to deepen the twist. Sink the right shoulder into the ground, head turns to the right. Close the eyes and breathe deeply into the body. Allowing every exhale to remove any lingering tension, tightness, or stress we might be carrying around. Visualize taking that washcloth and wringing everything out. Next inhale, floats the head, the knees back up to center. Realign the head and the spine. Taking those hands across the shin bones. Reaching for opposite wrists or elbows. Float the head up to deepen the stretch for the back of the neck. Taking a moment here to mentally tell ourselves, our bodies, our knees, our backs, and our shoulders how much we love and appreciate them. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to let it go, relax, and absorb our practice, and give ourselves a much needed moment of relaxation and letting go. Feel free to position the body in any way that is most comfortable for you, adding props behind the knees, the back, or head. Once we find our comfortable position this morning, we adjust the shoulders, the position of our legs and our feet. We allow those arm bones to roll open, palms up. We let the fingertips curl up naturally. We let the feet flop open, and we relax the toes on the feet. Rock out the head, relaxing around the neck and the shoulders. Try to find the very back center of the skull. Close the eyes, allow the eyelids to be heavy. Eyeballs sinking into the sockets. If needed, poof the cheeks, swallow, stick out the tongue. Relaxing the mouth, the back and lower jaw. Let a quality of heaviness come over the whole body. Relax every single muscle in the body. Relax all the muscles down the right-hand side of the body. Relax all the muscles down the left-hand side of the body. Relax all the muscles across the front of the body. Relax all the muscles down the back of the body. Let go of any expression across the face. Notice a very subtle rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Allow the breath to become easy, quiet, and calm. And if the mind wanders, Bring it back to this peaceful breath. Giving ourselves permission and just one more moment of our morning to let go, to relax, and to simply be and breathe. Slowly coming back to the natural rhythm of the breath. And then breathing life back into our bodies, waking up the toes, the fingertips. Rock the head, roll the ankles and the wrists. Inhaling, reaching those arms all the way back overhead into our long body stretch. Elongating the right side a little bit more. The left side a little bit more. And then one more big breath in. Spread those fingers wide, spread the toes. You can reach your limbs out in 4 directions, creating the space inside of our body. On the exhale, sweep the arms down, step the feet in one at a time, and then hug the knees into the body to rock out the back. Right arm falls beside the head, rolling onto our right side, pausing for a moment and sleeping baby pose. Keeping the eyes closed, press into the ground, using the hands to walk the body back up, to revisit any comfortable seated position, and to finish our practice together today. Find those sit bones. Sit up tall. We will finish with our mantras. We could take our hands into Chin Mudra here, placing our hands on our knees. If you'd like to try to follow along with the mantra, please do. Otherwise, just sit with your breath for another moment. Feel free to go back to some nice deep abdominal breathing. Chanting also helps strengthen the diaphragm and these muscles as well, so we can bring that intention into this practice. We'll go through the Om Pranayama mantra, Om Shanti, and then I'll finish with the hearty Om. Sitting up nice and tall and taking a deep breath in to chant. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. And then being mindful of our surroundings, let's re-extend the arms out beside the body. Take a deep breath in through the nose, reach those arms all the way up to the ceiling, and let's gather up everything we need for the rest of today. Turn those palms out, take an even bigger breath out, float the fingertips all the way back down to the ground, and let go of all that other junk we don't need. One more time, inhaling, arms up. Palms touch, exhale, hands to heart. Humbly bow the head to the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and anyone else that made it possible for us to practice our yoga together today.